Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. With the name Allah, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The praise, the thanks belongs to Allah, the guardian evolver, all systems of knowledge. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi. The prayers and the peace are upon his messenger, Muhammad, the Muhammad who received the revelation of the Qur'an, and ma ba'da, as what follows in this salutation. I greet the listening audience with a greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum. And let us begin. Continuing from last week, and today we're going to show the work today. Last week we concentrated on the word search from the Imam W.D. Muhammad Library. So here's the outline. Number one is that we read the verse grammatically correct first. You want to read the verse first. So as I'm always saying, this class is directed towards the Mali students, Muslim American Logic Institute, an online institution that we are building for the study of the Qur'an at this time. This is the foundation of the institution, the study, the science of reading the Qur'an and comprehending what you are reading. So the first step is read grammatically correct. Read the verse correct. Most of your assignments, those of you who are at this level, you're getting 2 weeks for an assignment, and it's short. I'm trying to give you short verses to read and to write on. So the first day, on a Monday, read the verse grammatically correct first. And then it would be good if you print out the verse, cut the verse out, hold the verse in your hand, and read the verse in your prayers. When you're making your prayers, you have the reading of the Qur'an in the prayer. Read the verse in the prayer. If you want to extend it with greater technology, you can get a stand now and put a tablet on a stand, download a Quranic app with just the Quranic Arabic, a Qur'an app, and go to that verse and read that verse in the prayer. Or you can download it on your phone, download the Qur'an on your phone, hold the phone in your hand, go to that verse and read the verse in the prayer. So you're reading this verse that you're thinking on for 2 weeks in the prayer. So that's the first day. Just read it. Tuesday, go back and look at it grammatically. That you're reading it grammatically correct with understanding the grammar. So you're going to be using Abu Faris. That's the next thing you want to do. Then the next step will be to look up the key words by Abu Faris by using a dictionary, looking at the key words. And then from the verse, the next step, or the next day, then choose a key word for the conceptual idea or topic of the verse itself, so you're not trying to look at the conceptual idea of every word. We're just starting from the beginning. As we go, we'll take more words in a verse. But we're just starting from the beginning for just to make a short comment. So you take a word from the verse, the key word in the verse, that you're going to look at. The verse is going to be surrounded by this word, and you want to use it for the conceptual idea and use Qur'an by Qur'an. Then, next step is a tafsir, which I'm not giving to you right away. You go and look at the tafsir and get an idea from the tafsir. And then lastly, you go to Imam W. Muhammad, do the word search of the key word. Do the word search of the key word from the library. Now, all of this that we're talking about here is within the Quranic worldview. You're not going outside the Quran. All of this is pertaining to the Quran itself. The meaning you're getting, so forth and so on, it's all a part of the Quranic environment. It's not a part of the outside or the social environment. You're not bringing that into the picture. You're just looking at the conceptual idea from the Quranic worldview. Okay, so now let's take a look how it goes. So we have the verse here, and this is quite a long verse. So I'm not going to go over the whole verse. I'm just going to take a part of the verse. But the verse reads, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We always say before we begin reading Quran. وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ. And we have enjoined mankind بِوَالِدَيْهِ by his parents, ihsanan, that he shows excellence towards his parents. Hamalathu ummuhu, his mother carried him. Kurhan, in pain, that she's hating the pain. Kurhan means to hate. She's not hating that she's pregnant, but the pain is a discomfort. وَوَضَعَتْهُ, and delivers him in pain. وَحَمْلُهُ, his carrying. وَفِصَالُهُ, and its weaning. ثَلَاثُونَ شَهْرًا is 30 months. So we have 30 here. This is the key, 30 months. Now this is the part we're going to look at. حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ, until when he reached his full potential, his full strength. وَبَلَغَ, and he reached أَرْبَعِينَ سَنَةً, 40 years. And we spoke a little last year about this way. This way, it could be that he reached his full strength and he reached 40 years simultaneously. It doesn't have to be literally 40 years. We're reading Quran now. It could be symbolic speech. 40 years. It could be 39, 41, what have you. But it's the idea, the conceptual idea we're getting here. That we're going to use. So this is the part we're going to look at. We want to concentrate on. إِذَا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَبَلَغَ أَرْبَعِينَ سَنَةً. Now, let's look at it. We read it. We read it according to, let's say, the general everyday translation that may be given to it, that may be given to these words. Now we're going to go a little further by looking at the meaning of the keywords with Abu Faris, Arabic words defining Arabic words. This will help with our vocabulary of reading Arabic and understanding Arabic by Arabic. So the first word here is the word balaga. Balaga, he defines it as wasala. And wasala is to attain, to reach, to connect. This is the idea here of balaga. He's saying it's wasala. So we would take connect, and we could take connect or attain or even establish for the word here, balaga. So we would say until when, or when, we could say, he established, or he attained, or he reached. Ashuddahu, he's saying, is quwwatahu. Quwwatahu, for ashuddahu, we would say his strength. So we put strength here. For this one, we substitute here, and then we would say until he reached or attained quwwatuhu, his strength, his full strength. Now that's the first idea of the reading, and these are the two words that we're giving here. Let's check. Yes, we're just giving these two. So we take these two words, substitute them, and then we read it again. This is step number 2. So we could say this is day 2. This is how you should prepare, and you don't have to take a long time because you're reading the verse every day in the prayers. If you're doing 5 prayers a day, you're reading it in both units of prayer. So that's 10 times. If you do 2 prayers a day, you're reading it 4 times. At least, if you do 1 prayer a day, you're reading it at least, you're looking at it every day. Now, you should be doing at least, at a minimum, of 2 prayers a day. When you wake up and before you go to sleep. If you're not making prayer, if your life is so busy and preoccupied that you're not making all of the prayers, at least you should be making 2, and then this Qur'an is going to encourage you to do better. Okay. Now, so we take the 2, we would say when he attains or reaches his strength, Quwwat is full strength, and he reaches 40 years. Okay. Now, next step, we're going to go and we're going to do the word field. In the word field, we're going to take the word balagah. Here is the verse. The verse we're dealing with is, the part of the verse is, Hatta idha balaga ashuddahu wa balaga arba'ina sana. This is all that we're dealing with here in the yellow. So, in this short phrase, we have 2 key words. We have ashudda and we have arba'ina. And you could put sana or arba'ina sana, 40 years. But I'm just underlining strength. We have strength and we have 40 as your key words here from the verse itself. So if you want to understand, have a contextual idea of balagah, it is the idea of attaining strength, and it's the idea of 40 years. At 40 years old, this is balagah. Balagah. This is the contextual idea. If we don't understand balagah, balagah is to be at your full strength, spiritually, intellectually, or even physically. Then we have another verse here. It reads, Qala innama al-ilmu indallahi. So he said, surely the knowledge is with Allah. So this knowledge is knowledge. Knowledge is another key word. And this knowledge, contextually, is knowledge that's with Allah. But we're going to take it out of that contextual idea and just take the word knowledge. But you have to keep in mind, in this Quranic worldview, that it's knowledge that's with Allah, not any knowledge. Well, ubaligukum, this is the key word, ubaligu. This is a derivative of the key word, balagah. Ubaligu. Ma and ubaliguhu, and I caused it to reach you. Ma ursiltu, what I sent. So here's another key word, is sent. This knowledge is being sent. This knowledge with Allah is being sent, and it's reaching you at its most potent peak of your most potent peak. Because we understand around 40 years old, when you're at the strongest mentally, then this knowledge will reach you. It's being sent by Allah. I hope you see I'm making these connections. وَلَكِنِّي أَرَاكُمْ. But I will see or cause you to see, or I see you. Yes, I see you. So here is sight. You're having vision and sight now. Clear vision, what we would say certainty. So this knowledge that is sent and that you are receiving at your most mature moment, intellectually speaking, will cause you to see. Qawman, a people, tajhalun, who are ignorant, in their ignorance. Now, I'm just going to make a side note on this, and then we will continue with the lesson. So when we're reading the Qur'an is knowledge that has been sent, that's with Allah, has been sent. And as we attain this reading, and Allah begins to show us ignorance. And people do not deny what Allah is showing you. Don't deny it. You don't have to go out and tell somebody they're ignorant, or you see in your own ignorance that you were in before attaining this mature state. Don't deny even your own ignorance and the evolving out of that ignorance. Okay? So we take the key words here. So we have knowledge, we have sent, knowledge that's sent, we have to see, and we have ignorance. And then we take another verse. We'll call it for the own. And Pharaoh said, Ya Haman, O Haman, ibni li, build me Sarhan, an edifice. That's an edifice that is ascending, that I may ascend. So it's an ascended edifice, high, something that's high. La'alli, perhaps, ablugu, I will attain, or I will reach, al-asbab, at the reasoning. I'm just going to read it that way right now. I will reach or mature in terms of the reasoning. So now we have build, to build, and you can see that the word here for build is the same word for son, which we could talk about in another talk. And we have Sarhan is an edifice that's evolved. And we have reasoning, al-asbab, reasoning. So these words here are all surrounded around balagha. So to reach or to attain something, you have to build it. And Sarhan gives us the idea that it's evolving. It's evolving and it's due to reasoning. You're building it by reasoning. Okay. So we have these ideas here. Next source. Now do this. One day, go and take some verses, which I'll show you again. I'm going to show you again how to do the word search. We have word search with Imam W. Muhammad, and then we're going to have Qur'an by Qur'an. I'll show you again how that's done. These are lessons now. It's going to take more than 20 minutes. These are the lessons and the steps and the lessons that I'm showing you, that I'm going to show you. So the next time I'll show you, take you step by step again and again on how to do Qur'an by Qur'an. Take a couple of short phrases where the key word appears, and we'll look at Imam W. Muhammad again. I keep showing you the steps. So it may take me a couple of weeks to do the whole process, but I'll show you the steps. So students, the Mali students, this is where you want to learn how to do it without me taking up a lot of time in the class. Because these are recordings. You go back to the recordings, you look at it again, you look at the recordings. This is how you will learn, because once you get to this level, you have to be more responsible to do things for yourself. I don't have to hold your hand and do everything, yet I'm still showing you. This idea here, we could say this science of developing these ideas is perhaps something that you have not done before. I doubt it. Because many of us do not read the Qur'an in Arabic with comprehension. Many of us read it just for memorization, not to understand. Many of us do not read it grammatically, just grammatically correct, and get the first reading. That's what you do the first day. You read it grammatically correct just to get the first reading. Now we're going to look beyond the first reading. Okay, so that's the next step. So day one, let's recap up to this point. Day one, read it grammatically correct. Read it, just read it. Day two, read it grammatically correct. Day three, look at the keywords of Abu Faris. Day four, choose a keyword for the conceptual idea and look at and get some phrases from Qur'an by Qur'an of the keywords. Just take a couple, like I just did. Next, and as I'm saying, you're reading the verse every day. Every day you're reading it, you're reflecting on it in the prayer. Now don't stop your prayer and reflect. You read it in the prayer, but read slow. Read it slow. Don't read a long verse. Just read it slow. In the prayer, you can read the first part of this verse, well, wasayna, and then you can read the next part, hamlethu, ummuhu. You can break it up. And read one part in one rakat, read another part in a second rakat. You don't have to read the whole long verse. Because if your reading is slow, take your time and read slow so you can think and reflect while you're reading in the prayer. You just don't stop. You don't stop the reading while you pray and study it while you pray. So you're just reading it. But the more you read, the more you become familiar with it because you are studying the phrase or the verse every day. And this will make the prayer even more enriching. Okay, so that's the next day. So we got day one, day two, then day three with Abu Faris. Day four, you're going to do Qur'an by Qur'an. Day five. On day five, you take a tafsir. Now, I'm showing you this now, even though we haven't put the tafsir in it for you to do it on your own. All of this I have been over with you in the classes, but not on your own. So now we'll take a short tafsir here from Tafsir Jalalain. And Jalalain, he gives short comments on the phrases. So that's why I'm choosing Jalalain right now, but we get ideas from Jalalain. So he says, for إِذَا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ, he's saying, هُوَ كَمَالُ قُوَّتِهِ. It is the perfection or the completion of his strength. The completion or the perfection of his strength. Going back to Ashudda. Where aqlihi and his intelligence. Where ra'ihi and his sight. Meaning to see philosophically. Philosophically, not just see physically. Not that kind of sight. We're talking philosophical sight now. So you can see here the word ra'ya, he's using ra'ya, and we already had the word ra'ya from the same word as ra'ya. So the ra'yi and ra'ya from the same word. So he has used here, but he's also including the idea of the intellect, the aql, its intellect. Then he says, aqalluhu, and its lesser, that this lesser, thalathun is 3, wa thalathuna, and 30 years. So he's saying it's 33 years. There's 3 and 30 is 33 years. That's the lesser idea, the lesser. Aqalluhu. Now we're gonna extract ideas from this. We're reading not to repeat literally what someone says, or to quote what someone says literally. It's not that type of school. That's not, or it's not this type of class to quote literally something and can't punch yourself out of the bag of the quotation mark. Your thinking, you can't expand your thinking. You have to say what the scholar says, and that's it. You're not to think. You're not to use any form of independent reasoning. That's not what we're about. We are about using and increasing your reasoning, or what they will call critical thinking is encouraged, not discouraged. Then we say 33 years, or so that's on, or 30. Now he says, or 30. Now here's the 30. وَبَلَغَ 40 سَنَةً, and this is the second part, or the part, and he reaches 40 years. Again, he's saying, that is to say, tamamaha, its completion. That's 40, its completion. وَهُوَ أَكْثَرُ الْأَشُدِّ, and it is the greatest of his strength. The 40 years is when he's at his strongest. The strongest period, we would say, in terms of his strength, in terms of his intellect, in terms of his philosophical vision. Okay? So we get this from, I'm showing you how I'm drawing this idea from Jalalain. And it's in context with what we're reading before, with the Qur'an. Now, the next source we're going to look at Imam W.D. Muhammad. So what we're doing is we're following what I'm doing as the founder of Mali. I'm not to say this in terms of, I'm not using this as a title. I'm using this in the idea of the founder of the Muslim American Logic Institute, how it is found, the foundation of it. It's not something we're just doing. It started years ago. And this comes from Imam W.D. Muhammad when I was a young man in my 20s. So he was saying to me how to read the Qur'an. When you read the Qur'an, he says, read it first for yourself. Just read it for yourself first. Don't worry about translations. Just read it. Look up the words and read it. You don't have to go to a translation. But for you all, if you want to read the Arabic, you have to read the Arabic. Don't reflect off of the English. You're always reflecting off the Arabic text. But if you want a translation to help you with the meaning of some words, and you don't want to use the dictionary so much, it can help you. But being a Mali student and knowing forms and things, you're going to get more than you would from an English translation. So read it first yourself. You should read it first yourself. Just read it yourself first. Then, he says, go and look what they say. So after I read it myself, I go and look what Abu Farid said, I go and look at what Jalalain has said, and I'm looking at the Qur'an itself. What in terms of the key word and what it says. Then he says, then look and see what I say. Imam W.D. Muhammad. Look and see what I say. Then after all of that, he say, then you will have something to say. And this is the method. So now we go to Imam W.D. Muhammad, and we looked at the word for balagha, and we looked at the word maturity for balagha. We translated maturity. Let's see what he had to say about maturity. So in one, I showed you the process last week. So I just took from some places that in different addresses that he has made. So one of them, in one of his addresses, he said, for this reason, Allah says in the Qur'an to Prophet Muhammad, say, I have already lived a lifetime among you. This addresses the historical fact that even before the revelation came to the prophet, he already had a lifetime, 40 years established. Balagha, 40 years established of human excellence, meaning established to be built. He had built this of human excellence already. So he's at his greatest strength at this period of time. Allah gave nature's urge to everyone. When he said to all, to everyone. He gave nature's urge to everyone for excellence and social maturity. So here is the word with found in here. But you see what comes along with it. The one staying with the God-given direction in his nature is the one Allah shall make the leader for all the rest and for all times to come. So we get ideas here in terms of maturity. We can do the same here in English as we do with the Arabic. So this idea of maturity is surrounded by the idea of 40 years. We got excellence, human excellence, established human excellence. These are keys to the idea of maturity. And we have the idea of nature. This is already in the nature, but this is nature being evolved. It's maturing into a social maturity. So this idea we're getting here. Then I go to another one. You may find among them all an inclination in their nature to follow the best direction, getting the best direction again, in their human nature towards their human goal of maturity. So if they are having this inclination towards the human goal of maturity, then we're saying, here we can say, even in Imam's writing, this idea is showing an idea of evolution, of maturing. Maturing means to evolve. Okay? Then we have another one. Everyone is born to grow and become mature enough, grown and mature enough, everyone. See, this idea here, everyone, all, and all. It's not in one person. It's in everyone, what we're talking about. But the one who stays with it. So everyone is born with it. Everyone is born with it, but the one who stays with it and do not lose it, do not deviate from it, is the one who's the leader. You want to know how to choose a leader? Then this is what you will look for in the leader. Don't look for sweetness. The one who's sweet, or he's good and sweet, and he'll talk to me nice and sweet, and he won't talk down to me, and he won't show any strength. he'll be a little weakling that I can handle. I can tell him what to do. Brother Imam, settle this argument between me and my wife. Yes, that's not the leader you're looking for. And that's not the leader you should want. Everyone is born to grow and become mature enough. Grown and mature enough can manage one's own personal life. Your body, your human life, everyone. But if the environment is filled with things that attract your interest, some of those things may overpower your own will to govern your own life. Very interesting. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is from another part here. But it is a freedom, no, this may be continuing, but it is a freedom that has to mature, to develop, and to evolve. Mature, develop, and evolve from lower planes of activity and responsibility to higher planes of activity and responsibility. Now, all of this we're getting here from the Imam, we can say because of knowing him and experiencing him, we're still within the Quranic environment that he's extracting from. He himself. So we're still really not leaving the Quranic environment. We're still in it. Then the last one is God said he had lived among us 40 years. Coming back to Muhammad the Prophet again. And that is a lifetime. The life of the common man is 40 years. Not 40 calendar years. We're not counting 40 calendar years per se. We're talking about man in his completion. That's his life. His lifetime is 40. From the time his mother is carrying him to the weaning until he reaches full strength, that's a lifetime. It is until his nature, here he's defining it for us now. It is until his nature and what he needs to survive in God's creation comes into his conscience. He becomes conscious of it. This is the idea of balaga. Balaga. Or balag. We have the term balaga when we're talking about language, which I will mention, which I will bring it to that point. Okay, so I put this in yellow because this is the one I'm going to extract from because I want to keep it short. Even though I can take all of this I have here, all that I have here, I can draw it out. And then even begin to show examples, which I don't do. I'm just writing a short comment. Because what we want to do in the class, even though we take all of this, in our comment we want to show in your life, apply it to your life. Right now, 2018 in America. For me, right now in America, right down to applying it in Detroit. In America, in Detroit, where I'm living right now. That's why I look, where do I see it? Where do I see what I'm reading? That's what we want. You want to learn to do that when you're reading. Where do you see this? What we're talking about, where do you see it? And don't be afraid. Allah will show you. Don't be afraid. Don't be like Moses. Don't run. When that stick starts moving, don't run. Just stay in there because Allah will show you. Now, so from that, we have the word field now. We're going to take our sources, we're going to put it together. So we make the word field from the Qur'an by Qur'an. We have the grammar, we read it grammatically, we make the word field. So we have knowledge, message sent, see, with that araka, see, ignorance, build, ascension, and reasoning. These were the key words that we extracted from Qur'an by Qur'an. Then we take from this word field and write a conceptual idea. based upon these key words. So we say reasoning based upon the message sent, which is the Qur'an, we could say, which ascends and builds an intellectual or spiritual edifice of knowledge, giving sight or certainty after, we could say, after ignorance or after being ignorant. This is the conceptual idea of balagha. Okay? Now, we have this conceptual idea. I'm going to take the conceptual idea here that we have here, and I'm going to go back. We wrote, let's say, our first reflection based upon the key words here, Wasala and Quwwata. We inserted. I want to take my time and really show you. So we took Wasala and we inserted it in for balagha, and we took Quwwata and inserted it in for ashad. Now you can do it again here for balagha if you want, and then we have arba'in and sana. We just use this from the general translation of 40 years. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the conceptual idea of balagha now and insert it. Insert the conceptual idea of balagha here instead of just the word wasala. I'm going to insert it here and then continue on. But I won't do it twice. I don't need to say it twice because it's a reflection. It's not a translation now. We're getting into a reflection / commentary. So I'm going to insert it here to show you. So now this is how I will do it. And it should still make sense. It should still stay with the context and it should still make sense. You have to make sense. So now here, for the reflection, I would say, when you attain the sense of reasoning based upon the message sent, which ascends and builds an intellectual or spiritual edifice of knowledge, giving sight or certainty after ignorance. That's all either balagha. Either balagha. Then, what balagha? Ashuddha, because ashuddha is in here also, the strength. Or we could say, while attaining full potential of strength, that's ashuddha. And we could say, of 40 years. So I just cut off balagha again. I didn't say balagha twice. So all of this up to here is either balagha. Let's go back so I can show you. I don't want to talk without you seeing it. So all of this up to ignorance is either balagha. So we said, what either balagha. That's all of that. But either balagha. Then ashuddahu, and then I didn't say balagha again because I don't want to write this whole piece again. So I can just say reach here without writing the whole piece, conceptual piece here. But you're saying it twice. And you only saying it twice for emphasis. So then I put 40 years in here. So let's go back and let me show you how I did it. So I used the conceptual idea. Starting with when you attain the sense of reasoning. So I'm making it make sense here. I'm using attain, even though attain is balagha, but I'm stretching it out into a reflection. That's what we mean by reflection. I'm reflecting on this word balagha now. In my reflection, I'm saying, when you attain a sense of reasoning based upon the message sent, which ascends and builds an intellectual or spiritual edifice of knowledge, giving sight or certainty after ignorance, either balagha, ashuddahu, while attaining full potential of strength, and then what balagha arba'in sana, of 40 years. So of attaining, I say it again, of attaining 40 years. So that's the idea here of the reflection. I'm saying of a reflection of the verse. I hope you see what I'm saying. Go back and look at the recording and look at it again if I'm going too fast. Now, I'm going to continue on with the comment. This becomes the state of maturity for the human being. The potential in his original nature has reached his intellect, and he becomes conscious of what he needs to survive in God's creation. So you can see here where I have grabbed from the Imam. Not literally quoting him, because even in the conversation that we were having at the time, he was saying to me that even if we go, and this is just Research 101. It's nothing but Research 101. So even when I go to say what he says, he said, I don't have to say he said it. I don't have to be a parrot. So you can see here, I'm taking the idea here. The idea of God said he had lived among us 40 years, and that is a lifetime. The life of common man is 40 years, not 40 calendar years. But this little part here is the part that I'm taking from him. This part right here, the idea I'm getting, is until his nature, what is it? It is until his nature and what he needs to survive in God's creation comes into his conscience. So I'm taking this idea here. Also, it's wrapped around the idea of building an edifice. An edifice or a spiritual or knowledgeable edifice that has in it the ascending nature. Okay, all of this is going together. So I take that part and I write this, adding to my reflection the idea of maturity. That's the whole key here, is maturity. So this becomes the state of maturity for the human being, of what I've just said. The potential in his original nature has reached his intellect, and he becomes conscious of what he needs to survive in Allah's creation. That's what I got from, you can see from the Imam, as well as from the other sources, keeping it together. Now, I have something to say now. I've looked to see what they have said. Now I'm going to say something. The methods of metaphorical language. Now what I'm going to do here, and what I'm going to say, I'm going to apply it. I'm reflecting on something right now, today, in our life, right now. I didn't write it out, but I just want to show you as I'm speaking. Right now. All of this I'm saying, where do I see this at? Where am I seeing this? Where does it apply to me right now, 2018? I go right to the Balaga class. Because the word Balaga is from the word Balaga. Balaga is with the long sound, Balaga to it. I'm going to say it classically. Balaga to him, by putting an ending on. El Balagatu or Balagatun. It has become a science that we're studying on Wednesday nights with Imam Jihad Safar. Very young man, I can call him young, a young man that is very good teacher. And Balaga, those of you who know Arabic, who can read Arabic, or what have you, and have some grammar. All of Mali's advanced students is a must. It's part of the Mali program. But those of you who are listening, and you're not necessarily in the Mali classes, but you want to enhance your reading of the Qur'an, Balaga. I'll make the comment here. So the message of metaphorical language causes man to evolve into a mature creature. Language. It's language that evolves us. Language. And it's metaphorical language. What is a better metaphorical language than So we say it was out of level, that it was sent. He sent it. And his knowledge is with Allah. And he sent it to the one who was the most mature one amongst us, who kept his nature and matured in that nature to a state of human excellence. So what is a better metaphorical language sent than the Qur'an? And the Qur'an challenges man. If there's something better in language, if there's anything that has been preserved as language that's better than the Qur'an, present it. And what is the Qur'an itself? It is full of metaphor. So the science is called Balagha. Someone named the science Balagha. And in this class now, at the point we're at, which I'm not teaching Balagha, is we're studying how to recognize and reflect on metaphors. How Allah uses metaphors in the Qur'an. Yes, it's a very, very excellent class. Then I would say this, after looking at what I'm looking at now in the Qur'an, which is what I'm showing you, and looking at this class, then Balagha is where it's at. It's Balagha. Because in order for man to evolve into a mature creature, language, he has to put language in his environment. If he gives himself to those things, let's go back and read what the Imam is saying now. I'm going to extend it because I have to. If your environment, language, let's think of language environment now because I'm bringing it home. If your language environment is filled with things that attract your interest, some of those things may overpower your own will to govern your own life. Look at your language that you use. And look at the language that's in your environment that overpowers you to govern your own life. Always crying about what somebody is not doing for you like a baby. That's what a baby does. Something you put in your life, and it's in your language. Because it's a language that will evolve, that evolves the human creature. We see with the animals. The animals have language. We can hear the birds talking to each other in the morning. They have language. All of them have language, but they don't evolve. Their language does not evolve them because their language is not metaphorical language. It's the metaphorical language that evolves man. And what is metaphorical language? It's simple. Metaphorical language is language where Allah takes the things that you see physically, that you see, and use that language pointing to or describing or defining something that you can't see. It's that kind of language that evolves the human creature to a mature state. It's those who cannot think metaphorically are those who do not evolve. They don't mature. They're immature. You still looking for God in a form of some created form that you can actually see, touch, and feel with your five senses? Believe me, you are a very immature human creature. Very immature human creature. And you're very immature in religion. So this language now, this is the language, this is Balagha. So what I want to say is grammar, learning conjugations, learning the 10 forms of the verb, learning the grammatical, the grammar of the words, reading the Qur'an grammatically correct. That's just the foundation. That will not mature you. Yes, it will give you knowledge. And you may advance, laterally speaking, but it won't evolve you. Learning to read the Qur'an grammatically, I'm coming to this conclusion, will not evolve you. It will help you, yes. But what will evolve you is balagha. So what we call surf, the study of forms in terms of its conjugations and 10 forms, the study of nahu, the grammar, is only the foundation, the qawaid. It's called qawaid. It's the foundation for balagha. And it's all preparation for balagha. And that balagha is for maturity and language. So, therefore, we are not complete in our scientific approach to Quranic language until we can read and comprehend balagha. Balagha. That's the idea that I'm applying right now, 2018. So, in conclusion, let me show something else here. This is symbolized by two Eids. We have the Eid al-Fitr, and that's return to the original nature. And that nature having everything in it, the potential, just the potential for man to evolve into a mature creature. So first we have to return to that nature, because perhaps that nature has been affected by things in the environment. That's the first Eid. And it's 30 nights, symbolized by 30 nights. Then we have the Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Adha is meaning literally the return of the brighter light. The brighter light, and it's 10 nights. Giving a maturity of 40. We have it in the religion. Now, what I'm going to say now I have something to say. I'm thinking now that if we practice, put in the ritual, 30 nights, you don't have to agree if you don't want to. I'm saying it because I'm not going to quote anyone. 30 nights. But I didn't think of this. I got this from the Imam too. 30 nights. And then the next night is the Eid al-Adha. The next day is Eid al-Adha. Sight the crescent and count 30 nights. Then, if you want, sight the crescent and count 10 nights. And the next day is Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Fitr is 30 nights. Pardon me. Eid al-Fitr is the 30 nights. Then we count 10 nights of Dhul Hijjah, the month of Dhul Hijjah. This is the month of Ramadan. This will be the month of Dhul Hijjah. And then the 10th day is the Eid al-Adha. That gives us a completion of 40. The only thing here, and some people called me, and I'm not teaching religion anymore. I'm not teaching you religion. I'm not teaching you rituals and things of that nature. Call your Imam. I'm not your Imam. I'm not your Imam like that. So I'm not telling you where to gather and have your parties and things like that. That's for the immature beings. You want to know where the party is, what day the party is on? Ask somebody else. I'm not the man to tell you when and have your parties and things. That's all you want to know anyway. What day is the party? That's not me, so I don't answer those calls anymore. I'm teaching the science now. The science of Qur'an as it applies to the life. So this is not a ritual. Go to Sunday school or something and get your ritual knowledge. That's not what I'm doing here. So, but you can take from this science and apply it to the ritual. I'm teaching science. the science of maturity. Pretty soon, inshallah, I will learn Balagha and increase the science, increase what Allah has shown me already. That's what I pray for. That Allah increase me in knowledge. Okay, so if we take this idea of counting 30 nights, and the next day is the Eid, that's the counting process. You count 30 nights, the next day is the Eid. You count 10 nights, and the next day is the Eid. Only that, it has to be after Arafat, after the pilgrims on Arafat. It don't have to be the exact day after. If you're counting 10 and it's 2 days after Arafat, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm here to tell you. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're counting 10 and you have 10 that's before the day Arafat, no. You can't have the Eid of Adha before the pilgrims are off Mount Arafat. We'll talk more about that. But if you counted 10 nights and the Eid was Tuesday, someone else, and the pilgrims on Mount Arafat Monday or Sunday, and the Eid was Monday for some, and some counted 10 nights and the Eid was Tuesday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, however, they were days apart. There's nothing wrong with that. Quit trying to put Islam into some rigid order. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's after the pilgrims are off Mount Arafat. So, what I would suggest, that you count 30 nights, have the Eid on the 30th day. You count 10 nights, and have the Eid on the 10th day, for a completion of 40. That when you're doing this ritual, it's the main point. When you're performing this ritual now, you can apply this ritual to a large body of knowledge that we're just touching on right now, that we have covered today. This whole body of knowledge that we have covered could come right down to being reflected upon and put into practice. That and at that time, you're not performing empty rituals without having a body of knowledge that goes along with the ritual. Alhamdulillah and Rabbil Alameen, and that includes our presentation for today. And I always pray that you have benefit from something that has been presented. Peace be upon you all. Assalamu alaikum. Before I go, I will give you a chance to ask questions. So those of you who are on Facebook, if you have a question, I will take a look. And those of you who are on the webinar, if you have a question, you can ask your question now. On Facebook, if you have a question, you can type it out, and I'll go and see if I can read your question and answer it now. God willing. We say, Inshallah means God willing. So I give you press start and then 6 on your phone, and that will open you in the queue to ask a question. Once I see you open, I will call you for your question, if you have a question. Okay, I see no one has a question at this time. So let me go to the Facebook and see what you may have there on Facebook. Tala Mahdi, you're repeating yourself. Yes, I'm repeating myself. That's how we learn through repetition. You have to remember that. We learn through repetition. If I go through this one time, you won't get it. If you're addressing me on me repeating myself, yes. I'm not speaking from notes. So I'm trying to think and talk and do things at the same time. So I have the tendency, That's an idiosyncrasy of mine to repeat myself. But if I repeat myself 10 times and you come to class and you don't know it, shame on you. I take it to mean you are feeling better. I don't know if that's Aisha. I don't know if you talking about me or not. But I'm always feeling good. At least when I talk to y'all, I feel good. You don't see me when I'm not feeling good. What happened to volume? I don't know. Excellent presentation. Thank you. So I thank you all for taking the time to listen in. I see no questions here. And again, I pray that you have benefited from this presentation. Peace be upon you all. Assalamu alaikum.